Hey, what's up everyone? Jonathan Thames here of Rosie and Ernie Productions, and welcome to the Multimedia Megafan channel. I'm here today to give you my thoughts on the brand new movie, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which was just released this past Friday into theaters and on HBO Max. And I'll start by saying that I did really enjoy this movie and thought that it was a good addition into the series. But having said that, I would have to say that it is the weakest of the Conjuring films. This is the third film in the Conjuring series, though it is technically the 8th film in its universe, and it's the first film in the series to not be directed by James Wan. This time the job fell on Michael Chaves, who also directed the 2019 film The Curse of La Llorona, which is a film that is also attached to this universe. Right off, I'll say that I think James Wan set the bar pretty high and left some pretty big shoes to fill for a director coming in for his second major film. But all in all, I think Chaves did a pretty good job considering. I'd say there are a lot of things done well, just not as well as in the first two installments of the series. The movie once again follows the real-life supernatural investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, with both Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga returning to reprise their roles, and is again based loosely around their investigation into the famous The Devil Made Me Do It case surrounding Arnie Johnson, who was the first person in the history of the U.S. to plead not guilty to the charge of murder by means of demonic possession. As previously mentioned, Wan left some pretty big shoes to fill. In my reviews for the first two films, I talked about how he was able to utilize every single element of filmmaking effectively to where everything just pulled together so well to create this truly genuine and authentically horrifying atmosphere. And whereas it's by no means my intent to unfairly critique this relatively new director against someone who is often deemed as being a master of his genre, it really can't be denied that all of those elements don't exactly line up in the same way to effectively create that same type of genuine, authentically horrifying atmosphere throughout the duration of the film. The movie does draw you in with suspense, but there isn't nearly as much finesse with pacing and follow-through, and unfortunately that does result in some of the scare scenes feeling a bit lackluster in comparison, and makes them feel a little bit more predictable and generic next to other films in the same genre. Another thing this film doesn't do quite as well as the previous two is taking the time to get the audience to strongly connect with the people the Warrens are trying to help. I just didn't feel as close to or scared for these characters as I did with the Perron or the Hodgson cases. That being said, I don't think that either of those elements were poorly executed by any means. It was definitely serviceable and delivered in a way that was still mostly entertaining and engaging throughout. And story-wise, whereas I did feel like the story should have spent a little more time focusing on connecting us with Arnie and his loved ones, I did appreciate the story arc that was applied to the Warrens and thought that it was pretty well executed. I can definitely see some people taking issue with it or feeling like it's an unnecessary distraction to the overall story, but if this movie is meant to finalize the Conjuring films into a firmly set trilogy and conclude the cinematic story arc of Ed and Lorraine Warren, then I'd have to say I disagree and feel like it serviced that goal well, and I, as a viewer, was happy to get it. I also did enjoy how the investigation unfolded and how the story was delivered to help explain the triggering circumstances behind Arnie's possession, and thought that aspect was delivered pretty well for the most part as well. Like its predecessors, this movie has solid performances, though the only ones in this one that really stand out as being exceptional are Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, and veteran actor John Noble. But, I mean, everyone else does a decent enough job playing their roles well enough to adequately service the story. In conclusion, the movie does fall a little short next to the first two installments of the series, but not extremely short, and again, I still got a good bit of enjoyment from watching it and feel like it is a good inclusion into the franchise. I feel like if this movie were just paced with a little more patience, utilized some more deliberate and motivated cinematography, and just structured its story a little more to connect its audience to the subjects of the case, then this movie could have easily been every bit as good as the first two movies. I think Michael Chaves shows some excellent potential as a director, especially for this being his second major project, and I look forward to seeing how he progresses as a filmmaker moving forward. Overall, I give the movie a rating of 7 out of 10 and thought it was good. I again recommend it to anyone who enjoys this particular franchise or to anyone that enjoys a supernatural-based horror story. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is currently playing in theaters and streaming on HBO Max, so if you're interested in seeing it, go check it out and come back and let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I want to thank everybody for watching this review. I hope that everybody out there is doing well, and I'll see you all in the next video.